Hello and welcome to the Week 8 edition of the EstablishedRun.com NFL Betting Show. My name is Adam Levitan, as always, joined by Evan Silva. Today we are back to talk sides, to talk totals, to talk props, etc. Again, I need to state, be very clear. I do not personally bet the sides and totals. It's honestly just for fun. We know that people love it. And also to throw the books off the scent a little bit as we ravage them in props. In other words, maybe our accounts don't get shut down if we give them some action on sides and totals. Prop market is just so soft. Hopefully you've been in our subscriber-only Discord where all the prop stuff goes down. Anyways, Evan, how's it going?
Oh, ready to give the people some winners.
Evan is riding high off of a 3-0 week. I will say, Evan, last week, 3 pretty easy wins for you. And we're not victory lapping here because our record is absolutely atrocious. But Browns, never a doubt. Eagles, Raiders over, never a doubt. Packers, -7 over the football team, clean winner. And then I lost the DeAndre Swift total yards under. Did have Dolphins plus 2.5. They lost by 2. And I had the Derrick Henry, the big dog unders, which, you know, that line has already been adjusted by like 20 yards for this week going forward. So you can see how far off prop lines can be.
Yes,
before we get into today's show, I want to let everyone know about a new promo we have. Know plenty of people love us. They want to play DFS. They want to be on ETR, but the price is not something they can handle. We worked out a deal with BetMGM to help. If you sign up for a new BetMGM account with our promo code, simply make the first deposit and place a bet, and they'll send you a free month at ETR. That's a $65 value on top of the sign-up bonus you get with MGM. If you're already an ETR sub, you can still get in on this promo. They'll send you the same coupon, and you can use it on a future purchase. Check out the show notes for the link and the promo code and more info. Second, NBA is off and running. If you're even thinking about playing NBA DFS or you want to, or thinking about betting NBA props or you want to, you need help, Dink, Gallagher, and our NBA team can be that help. Check out our products on the NBA subscribe page. All right, Evan, you nipped me last week 3-0. Shout out to you. I'll let you go first here today as we draft some sides, totals, and props.
Yeah, staying on brand here. I am kind of pissed though about this total that went up. Panthers Falcons. It was 45.5 last night. It's 46.5 now on DK. Can you get it at 45.5 elsewhere?
Let me see here. I'm pulling it up right now. Panthers Falcons. Best total right now is you can find 46 on Rivers.
All right.
You can find a 46 on Points Bet. But yeah, mostly 46.5s and 47s right now.
Okay.
I'll give you 46. Do you want the 46?
I'll take the 46 for our purposes, but I'm still taking the 46.5. We're starting to get into the time of year where, weather is a factor. And so looking into domed environments, if you're an overs better, I think is a smart play. Of course, it's already factored in to the line itself. But for situations like this where, Sam Darnold, he doesn't play well unless everything is going well around him. And Matt Ryan also at this stage of his career is a little bit like that. So I like the fact that these quarterbacks are, in environments where they're not going to have to deal with, the wind and the cold. Mm-hmm. I think that, this is just a spot where, and also the Falcons have really struggled to rush the passer. One of the things that has been working against Sam Darnold recently is that he just crumbles when he's under pressure. And the Panthers have really struggled to protect him. They've played a bunch of teams in a row that have at least mediocre pass rushes, if not good pass rushes, and that has really worked against them. Their team total is only 20.5. Carolina going up against a bad Falcons defense. AJ Terrell, their top cornerback, is dealing with his second concussion of the year. I saw that he did get a limited practice in on Wednesday, but I still think that they if he's not cleared by Friday, like they're not going to push him to play AJ Terrell. I think that this is Robbie Anderson week, and we'll be talking about that on the Friday show for sure. And then I think that the Falcons can have. I mean, they haven't been bad on offense recently. I know the Calvin Ridley thing, but Cordero Patterson and Kyle Pitts have both stepped up as big-time playmakers, and I think that that's going to come full circle, and we're going to see Calvin Ridley benefit from that. So I'm going with the over here. We can get there with a 27-20 game. You know, I think it's just in today's NFL, like it's hard to not score 47 points.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be in, and I want to be in on Robbie, and I want to be in on Calvin Ridley this week. I want to be in on both of them as part of these stacks. I'm in one high-stakes season-long league. We're going with Darnold. We're sticking with Darnold as our quarterback. We have Lamar Jackson on a bye, and so
yeah.
Oh, daddy. Yeah. Okay.
I know. No, it doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah,
but, you know,
that's okay. The best
as the great David Goggins says, though, you got to feel comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Goggins quotes. Okay.
He's a stud.
He's so funny. All right. I'm going to go with a prop in tonight's game, in tonight's Packers Cardinals game. So I think that ideally the Packers want to have a game plan tonight without Devonta Adams, without Alan Lazar, without MVS. That's very, very run heavy. Can they get there as a 6.5 point dog and execute that kind of game plan? I don't know, but I think that's what they want. And so I think Aaron Rodgers unders look good in a lot of spots. Aaron Rodgers under 24.5 completions is going to be what I take here. I already took Aaron Rodgers under 24.5 completions minus 110. I think there's still some 24.5 minus 120s out there. And I think that's okay. We have him for around 22 completions in this game. And it's, you know, a wide range because like if they get a lead, like they're just going to try to pound AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones here, given what they have at wide receiver. Now, if they get behind, obviously this could look rough, but I think catch rate is something that people are just assuming is like global. Catch rate is very related to having Devonta Adams. Like without Devonta Adams, Aaron Rodgers' completion rate in the long term, I know he's been good without him in recent time, but in the long term, I think it goes down. So under 24.5 completions on Aaron Rodgers. Still think there's some minus 120s out there on that for anybody who wants to enjoy the game tonight and root against Aaron Rodgers completing passes as I will be doing.
MVS is not playing.
Correct. No MVS,
right.
No Lazard. Oh, I misspoke. No MVS, no Lazard, no Devonta Adams. Like, yeah, they're a mess.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who steps up, like from showdown slate perspective. Yeah, actually, I think that even if you look at the stats with and without Devonta Adams recently, although Aaron Rodgers has put up strangely more fantasy points without Devonta Adams on the field, I think that his completion rate is not as high.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's just made a bunch of big plays. That's what'll do it, and that's what'll will happen in a small sample. It's only a 6-game sample over the last 3 years of missed games by Devonta Adams. Can definitely be misleading. Speaking of trying to feel comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm going to go with the Lions plus 3.5 against the Eagles. The Eagles are just like, I feel like they're in a bad place right now. You know, Nick Sirianni's talking about
yard work. He's talking about yard work.
I know. This is what he's resorting to. Jalen Hurts is like on the brink of being benched. Now, Jalen Hurts is like a volatile player that, he can make big plays. Just so many of them have occurred in garbage time this year. But I mean, he could pop up for a big game against Detroit. Like that's definitely within his range of potential outcomes. But I think that with where the Eagles are just as a team right now, I don't think that there's a whole lot of confidence right now. Their defense has really come under fire, deservedly so. I think the Lions can get the outright here. Now, this would be the second time that I thought that the Lions could get the outright. The first time was against the Bears, and they definitely did not take care of business. But I think the Lions show up here. I think that they're still playing hard, and I think that they can at very least cover the 3.5.
Yeah. I like that one. I mean, you're not going to have to convince me on home dogs, like home dogs that are getting 3.5, I think is going to be one. And I like that for sure. I mean, who are the Eagles to be favored on the road by 3.5 against anyone whatsoever? And so we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts a lot on Friday because Jalen Hurts on DraftKings is projecting like a clear tier above every other quarterback. There's going to be bench risk, maybe, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, he could have an absolutely huge game, and the Lions could still win the game. So yeah, I like that one for sure. All right, I'll go with a side here and I'll go with a side that I mean, I never ever take road favorites. Like, it almost makes me sick. I don't even know if I end up taking this, but I just think that I've been betting against the Saints all year. The way you're playing football as the Saints is really hard to win against good offenses. And we saw them. Obviously, they can do it against Geno Smith. They can do it against Daniel Jones, whatever. Now they're playing Tom Brady and this Bucks offense, which is like unstoppable. And so for Jameis to keep up, he's going to have to open it up here. And I'm not sure he's capable with no Michael Thomas back of really doing so. So yeah, I mean, I think the Bucks go down to New Orleans and put another hammer down on the Saints. Like, it's just really hard when you're playing 1950s football to compete with modern offenses. And so, I mean, if the Bucks score 30, which I think they're really likely to do, how are the Bucks going to score 20 to 25 points? So, yeah, the rare road favorite for me. I feel like a square. I feel like a fish, but I am on the road favorite Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks are just such a better team than New Orleans.
Yep.
All right, shoot, I'm fishing for this final one.
Bucks are good, man. I had a bet, and shout out to Ryan Reynolds, who does the awards column stuff. The Bucks are so good, and like Tom Brady, like the media loves Tom Brady so much. I thought the 8-1 that we got, it wasn't even that long ago. Like, I think Ryan pointed out like 1 or 2 weeks ago on Tom Brady 8-1 to be MVP. I mean, they're just so good, and Brady is so ridiculous, and he's going to throw an insane amount of touchdowns. So I took the 8-1 there. I'm not sure what it's at now, but yeah, I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah, he's got 21 touchdown passes through 7 games, and he's only had Gronk in like 3 of them, and Antonio Brown has missed time, and Brady's balling. He's the number 1 overall quarterback in fantasy too right now. Okay. I'm going to go with the Colts. Now, the Colts are favored by 1.5 here at home against the Titans. The Titans are coming off 2 massive wins. Beat the Bills on Monday night, and they beat the Chiefs, like just whooped them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's some letdown possibility here. I think that at the end of the day, the Colts and the Titans are very close. And I'm also a little bit biased here, I must admit, because I took the Colts to win the division, I think 2 weeks ago. So I'm kind of rooting for the Colts here. But I mean, I think that the division is almost certainly going to come down to these 2 teams. Jacksonville and Houston are not competitive in the AFC South. The Colts have a chance to have their full offensive line intact for the first time all year. Quentin Nelson was activated off IR, and Braden Smith has now practiced for 2 days in a row. Mark Lewinsky's in there. Ryan Kelly's in there. Eric Fisher is in there. That's the starting 5. Jonathan Taylor is white hot. He's been playing more in the passing game, which I love. Carson Wentz has been, I don't know. The game against San Francisco was rocky if you actually watched it, because he had a number of turnover-worthy plays. If you look in the box score, it looks like he's been largely avoiding turnovers. But, man, he should have had some balls picked off in that game that were not. At the same time, I think that when you give him protection, he's going to be, he's going to be like just a more comfortable player. This is a game that they're playing indoors. And I still think that this Titans pass defense, they generated some pass rush in the last game against a very overrated Chiefs offensive line. The Colts offensive line, assuming that they do have all 5 guys up there, are going to be able to protect Carson Wentz. I think that this is a coin flip game. I don't know. Can I just take the money line at minus 125?
You can take whatever you want.
Okay. I'm going to do Colts money line minus 125.
Let me just make sure that's the best line for you here. We always want to be sure to shop here on this program. You can get a minus 120 on MGM. You can get a minus 121 on Rivers, but it looks like most places are at minus 125. But I'll give you the minus 120 on the Colts. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to I think that it's really hard for NFL teams to like play at this level for a whole season. And so the Titans had to play at a really high level, obviously, to beat the Chiefs in a primetime game, then play a really high level, or beat the Bills, and then be a really high level to be the Chiefs. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously, like the market reacts to that, and there could certainly be some overreaction there. I do think both teams will be up for this game. I mean, like you said, it's such a big game in the AFC South to see who's going to win the division and make the playoffs, because I don't think both of them will. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to go back to props for my last one. And so these rush plus receiving yard lines can get bloated sometimes. And so we saw it last week with Derrick Henry. I took the DeAndre Swift one last week, didn't hit, but DeAndre Swift did have a 68-yard pass reception on like the first play of the game, which I thought was a little bit fluky. But I'm going back to this on the total yards on Chuba Hubbard. We bet Chuba Hubbard under 92.5 pass plus. Rush plus receiving yards. It's down to 88.5 now. I still think it's okay. Our median there is around 80. Chuba is getting an overwhelming amount of the Panthers running back touches, but Royce Freeman is playing a ton. Like Royce Freeman is playing somewhere between 20 and 30 snaps per game. And so, that stuff, it's okay to not always be on the field, but it just introduces a little bit more downside if Freeman were to get hot or for whatever reason. And so obviously you have the injury equity. Also, I also think Chuba, like, as much as I joke about the 90% CMC stuff, like what he can do after he gets the ball in his hands is just like not comparable to Christian McCaffrey. And you can even make a case that like his tackle breaking and everything is not as good as Mike Davis was last year. So Chuba under 88.5 it is now. I did get 92.5 earlier, but I think it's still okay with that 4-yard gap.
Yeah, at halftime last week, Chuba Hubbard played 20 snaps and Royce Freeman played 14.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Chuba Hubbard is just like very, very replacement level. And it shouldn't be surprising that – and I think Royce Freeman has looked better in Carolina, and he's barely gotten the ball. So it's very – again, we're dealing in very small samples all the time. But I think he's looked better in Carolina than he ever did in Denver. And I don't think it's surprising that he's starting to creep up and take some work away from Chuba. Or Chuba. It's Chuba Hubbard.
Correct. I've been saying it correctly. You've been saying Chuba.
I've been butchering it. I know.
Shout out to me, Chuba. Okay. That's going to do it for this week 8 betting show. Appreciate you all being here. I'll be back with Cody on YouTube at 6:30 p.m. Eastern for a showdown show ahead of tonight's slate. Then Evan and I will be joined by Leone. Wiggins is actually on vacation this weekend. We'll be joined by Leone on Friday night behind the paywall for subscribers only on Establish the Show, aka the Kama Sutra Show. For Evan, for my beautiful sign in the background, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.